Beneath the unrelenting sun of Upper Egypt, nestled on the west bank of the Nile, stands a temple that seems less like a ruin and more like a riddle carved into stone. Its name is Dendera. To step inside is to walk not only into a building, but into a question that has haunted archaeologists, explorers, and dreamers for centuries. What secrets lie hidden within its walls? The Temple of Hathor at Dendera is among the most astonishingly preserved monuments of ancient Egypt. Its columns tower like a petrified forest, their heads carved with the serene face of the goddess Hathor herself, eyes wide, lips curved in a knowing smile. The ceilings blaze with stars and constellations painted in deep celestial blues, while hidden chambers wind downward into the earth like secret veins. But to truly appreciate its mystery, we must begin not with its stones, but with its goddess. Hathor, Lady of Dendera, was not a distant, terrifying deity like some. She was beloved. She was the goddess of love, music, fertility, healing, and joy. To her worshippers, she was the celestial cow who gave milk to the world, the protector of mothers and children, the goddess who welcomed the dead into the afterlife with open arms. But Hathor had another face too. She was the Eye of Ra, the blazing solar goddess of destruction, when angered, sent to punish humanity itself. Imagine a deity both gentle and terrible, loving and merciless. That was Hathor. And in her temple, both faces of the goddess linger still. The temple we see today was built in the 1st century BC under Ptolemy the Python, father of the famous Cleopatra VII. But it was not the first. This site had been holy ground for nearly 2,000 years before that. Inscriptions within the temple itself proudly declare that earlier pharaohs had raised sanctuaries here as far back as the Old Kingdom. Some claim that even Khufu, builder of the Great Pyramid, sent offerings to Hathor at Dendera. To build here was not to choose, it was to continue. Generations of kings and priests returned to this sacred ground, layering stone upon stone, carving prayer upon prayer. And with each layer, something else accumulated here as well. Mystery. Consider the temple's most famous treasure, the Dendera Zodiac. Imagine a massive sandstone disc carved with a map of the heavens. In it, we find not only the stars sacred to Egypt, the deacons, the constellations that mark the hours of the night, but also the 12 familiar signs of the Western zodiac: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, all present and unmistakable. The disc even shows the planets in their orbits and the constellations surrounding them. For many, this carving is not just an artwork, it is a star chart, a cosmic code. When French troops under Napoleon entered Egypt at the close of the 18th century, they were stunned by the zodiac. Here, in the middle of the desert, was a ceiling that seemed to record the heavens with a precision that should not have been possible for its time. Soon debates raged in Europe. Was this zodiac a record of ancient astronomical knowledge dating back thousands upon thousands of years? Was it evidence that Egyptian civilization was older than the Bible itself claimed? Or was it merely a Ptolemaic curiosity, a borrowing of Greek knowledge dressed up in Egyptian style? The controversy became so heated that in 1822, French antiquarian Sébastien Saulnier orchestrated a bold theft. He had the zodiac ceiling sawn out of the temple, piece by piece, and shipped to Paris. Today, it rests in the Louvre, a trophy of colonial ambition, but also a symbol of enduring mystery. Egyptologists argue about its meaning to this day. Did the priests of Dendera understand the precession of the equinoxes, a cycle of nearly 26,000 years, far beyond the grasp of most ancient astronomers? Some researchers believe they did. If so, then the zodiac is not just a calendar. It is evidence that the ancients held secrets of the cosmos that we are only now rediscovering. But the zodiac is not the temple's only enigma, for beneath Dendera lies another mystery, hidden away in the crypts. These underground chambers were sealed for centuries, accessible only to the highest priests. When they were finally explored, the walls revealed astonishing carvings. Most famous of all is the image many call the Dendera Light. To the untrained eye, it looks strikingly like an enormous light bulb, a bulb-shaped vessel within which a serpent stretches, resembling a filament, connected at its base to what appears like a socket or generator. Around it stand priests, holding the object reverently. Could it be possible that the Egyptians possessed electricity? Some fringe theorists insist they did, citing the Dendera Light as proof. They suggest the priests may have used electric lamps to illuminate the dark passages of temples and tombs without the smoke of torches. After all, no soot has been found in the ceilings of certain tombs. Could this be evidence of a forgotten technology? Mainstream Egyptologists, however, dismiss such ideas. To them, the carving represents a lotus flower from which a serpent emerges, symbolizing creation itself. The serpent being a form of the god Hathor, born from the lotus at the dawn of time. But the question remains, why hide this image in the crypts, in places the general public would never see? Why such secrecy if it were only a mythological motif, and the crypts hold more than just curious carvings? Within them, archaeologists have found inscriptions describing the sacred rituals performed here, rituals that involved healing, protection, and the channeling of divine energy. Some inscriptions even describe secret chambers containing statues of the gods, coated in gold, protected from view. To enter these rooms, a priest had to undergo purification rituals, abstaining from certain foods, washing with sacred water, and reciting chants to protect himself from unseen dangers. To us, they read like superstition. But to the Egyptians, these were technologies of the spirit, ways of controlling forces that science has no language for. Step outside into the temple courtyard, and the mood changes. Here, reliefs depict joyous festivals, musicians playing harps, women shaking sistrums, dancers moving in honor of Hathor. She was, after all, the goddess of music and laughter, and her festivals were famous throughout Egypt. The most important was the festival of the Beautiful Reunion. Once a year, the statue of Hathor from Dendera was carried upriver to meet her consort, Horus of Edfu. The journey was a time of celebration, with processions, banquets, and music. Ordinary people joined in, dancing and singing as the goddess traveled the Nile. In these moments, religion was not distant. It was alive, joyful, intoxicating. But joy was only half the story, for Hathor also had her terrible face, the lion-headed Sekhmet, destroyer of mankind. One ancient myth tells of a time when Ra, angered by humanity's disobedience, sent his daughter, Hathor, in the form of Sekhmet, to punish them. She slaughtered so many that the fields ran red with blood. Only when Ra tricked her into drinking vats of beer, dyed to look like blood, did her fury subside. That duality, joy and terror, creation and destruction, is etched into every wall of Dendera's temple. It is perhaps this duality that gives the temple its lasting power. It is not a ruin of one dimension, but of many. Science and superstition, celebration and secrecy, heaven and earth. For centuries, explorers have felt this. When Napoleon's scholars sketched the temple, they were struck not just by its artistry, but by its strangeness. In the 19th century, travelers wrote of feeling overwhelmed, as though the temple were more than stone, as though it were a kind of book, its walls a script that no one had yet learned to read. And maybe that is the greatest secret of all. For what is knowledge, if not the ability to weave stories into meaning? The priests of Dendera wove science into ritual, astronomy into myth, healing into worship. They saw no separation between what was sacred and what was practical. To them, studying the stars was an act of devotion, healing the sick was a sacred duty, and music was not mere entertainment, but a way to summon the goddess herself. Today, tourists walk through Dendera with cameras and guidebooks. They marvel at the Zodiac, at Hathor's face on the columns, at the vivid blues still clinging to the ceilings. But if they listen closely, perhaps they can still hear something more. The faint echo of music, the murmur of prayers, the whisper of secrets that have survived for thousands of years. So what does the Temple of Dendera truly hold? Some say evidence of advanced technology. Others, a profound integration of science and spirituality. Still others believe it conceals a story so old, so vast, that we have only begun to glimpse it. The truth may never be fully known, but perhaps that is fitting. For some mysteries are not meant to be solved. They are meant to be entered, like the halls of Dendera itself, slowly, reverently, with wonder. And as you leave those echoing chambers in your imagination, one question lingers. What else lies buried beneath the sands of Egypt, waiting for us to uncover? And when we do, will we be ready for the answers?